Hello, hello, hello. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Come on. Oh, you got to get your lean in. Come on. It is 12 noon. You know what day it is. You know what time it is. It's an F Bomb Friday. That's where we are. And I welcome you back to the studio. So today here I have playing up under us Joaquin Carud. You can check him out in the YouTube audio library, copyright free, of course. This brother is dope. Check him out. So here's where we are today, my wonder people. Grab that pen, grab some paper, get your fingers on the keys. I want to invite you to let me know you are in the place. Wherever you are tuning in from, go ahead and let me know you are here. Where in the world are you, by the way? Because we about to flow. So let me just encourage you one more time. Get your bounce, get your bounce, get your bounce. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Oh, all right. So here's what we want to do. Before we go any further, let me remind you where you are. You are here, check the bottom of the screen, at the Practicing Positivity, what I call affectionately the studio. So here at the Practicing Positivity studio, we actually do something that I find to be absolutely exciting. And here's what it is. We're looking to help you lay your hands on those things that will help you uncover, discover, or recover your own sense of energy, your sense of vitality, your sense of purpose, passion, hope, those things that make life worth living. So that's what we do here at the studio. And as you can see, here is the whole purpose. Listen, we want to have energy. We want to have hope. We want to have vitality, not just to get up, go to work and be on the treadmill, go to bed, and then get up and do it again perpetually, so that we can create a life that we love. And life here stands for love, inspiration, freedom, fun, and a truly exceptional experience. As far as we know, you only get one ride at life at a time. So you might as well make the most of it. So that's what we do here. So this is an opportunity. Remember, this is our third installment. This is our third week of F-Bomb Fridays. Remember, we started a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about failure, how to make failure friendly. Last week, we dived into feedback, how to reframe that feedback so that that feedback actually is something that you own. You put your hands on it. You actually put yourself into the driver's seat of taking that information and creating it into a building block that you can build something with, or you can build on, or that could even propel you forward. You with me? Right? So that's that's the ground that we've covered. Today, I want to get into some slightly different territory. I wanted us to come in and have this opportunity to talk about flow. And if you all are familiar, I don't know if you know this term, flow. You might have heard people describe it like getting in the zone or in the pocket, or that place where it's like everything comes together, things slow down, time expands, and you feel like you can do anything. You have a almost blinding clarity. You know exactly what to do. There's no such thing as distraction. And yes, I'm talking to my ADHD brothers and sisters out there. I did say it. Ain't no distraction when you get to this flow state, right? So why is it that it feels like flow is fleeting? I wanted us to come back to it and have some time to talk about flow as a part of one of your F bombs. Because remember, if we're all about putting our hands on those things that help us recover our joy, recover our sense of self, recover our purpose for life, this flow state is one of the keys. Now, as I just said, that flow can feel fleeting. But here's what we're learning about flow. And let me know in the comments or in the chat. Hey, is this flow state something that you have experienced? Number one, have you experienced it? And number two, is it something you'd like to experience more often, or have a sense of, hey, I can access it when I want to, not just it just occurs kind of when the planets align or when the wind shifts from north to south, right? Something that feels so far outside of yourself that you don't ever feel like that's something that you can access and make use of. So go ahead, put in the comments or put in the chat if you're on Facebook, put it in the comments. If you're on YouTube with me, go ahead and load it up in the comments. Like, yes, I've had that flow feeling and I want some more. Go ahead and put it into the chat. Give me a big yes. So here's where I want you to start thinking about, and this is why I want this to be a part of your new lexicon of possibility. These F-bombs are about setting off the bombs of possibility in our life. How do we create more energy to move? So we're adding in flow because that flow is what opens up a whole other level of how we are able to perform, how we're able to go about producing results that matter, how we're able to navigate and meet challenges that seem impossible. This is what's possible inside of the flow state. Now, here's the deal. As you all know, I pull my notes together for y'all. I don't just be coming here and talking off the top of my head. I've prepared something for you all. So here's what I want to do. That flow state has been described, as you heard me say, in the zone where effort is effortless, and where this is the piece that I wanted you to lean into here, where you feel propelled forward, or something is almost pulling you forward. So all of that effort and some of the struggle, it's not that the resistance isn't there. Somehow you get ignited inside of that resistance and it pulls you forward. And then things start to just open up, right? You start seeing possibilities and connections that you couldn't see them before. So that's how the flow state has been described. Now, why it matters is because inside of that flow state, that's where you all hear how I'm talking about this. Being able to get inside of this flow state on demand as opposed to haphazardly, it allows us to see and to do things, right? To do the impossible, or to see and do things that we just couldn't imagine before. All of a sudden, we have access to it. So as you are thinking about whatever change process you're in, whatever road that you're on, whatever you're trying to achieve, having access to that flow state can be enormously helpful as you are moving towards your intended goal, as you're moving towards and through your change process or an existing challenge. So here are some things that I wanted you to know as you're thinking about flow state. This is why I wanted to talk about this, because I have this fascination with flow. I'm like, holy cow, this is great. It should be like this all the time. Hold up. Because here's what now scientists and researchers, and I'm bringing all of this to you. I kind of got obsessed with Steve Kotler and his work on flow. And he is not only an author, he's written several books on flow. He's a researcher. He's got a ton of YouTube videos online about flow, which I highly encourage you to check them out. And I will put a couple of my favorites in the show notes. So here are some things that I want you to know about flow, that maybe we get so caught up in the woo-woo and how great flow feels that we forget what precedes that flow state is risk, is novelty, is having a great challenge, and you're kind of right outside of your skill set. So you're really on that edge of, I know I can do this, but I'm in new territory, and you have to create some new neural pathways to put some things together in a new way to meet that challenge. So you're in this place of, I have some confidence because I know I've done some things like this before, but I'm moving into new territory and it's really stretching me beyond. Please write this down. Right before you get the flow, you get stretched beyond your comfort zone. And Stephen Kotler calls this the challenge skills ratio, where we're always on that line, teetotaling between, hey, there's this big challenge that's pulling me over the line outside of my comfort zone. And hey, I've got some experience, I've got some skill up under me. So I know I can do some things, but can I do this thing? And you start to feel like, yes, I can. I've got enough where I can work with, and things start firing off for you. right? So the other piece that I wanted to focus on around what precedes flow, oh, it feels so good, but sometimes you got to go through that rough patch to get there. That's what I want you to know. So if you're in a moment where it feels like you're stretched, where it feels like you don't want to snap, you don't want to break, but you really are stretching. You're stretching your skills. You could feel those new muscles tissues being developed. You can feel that new skill set being expanded and solidified, right? So if you're in that place and you're starting to feel a little bit of I'm a little discombobulated, let this be a sign to say, I'm headed to my moment of that effortless effort. I'm headed to my moment of flow. But if I don't keep banging on the door, I might give up too soon. The reason that I was excited to come and talk to you about flow today is we all want the great feeling that the one of the examples of flow that has always stuck with me, Andre Agassi was talking about how he was working with a coach, and even though that tennis ball was coming at him at over 100 miles an hour, in his mind the ball slowed down. He could see the spin. He could see the turns of the ball. He could see the slight direction. And he had time in his mind to take his racket and make the adjustment with his wrist so he could slam that ball back over and have it land right 1 inch inside of the line across the net. We all want that feeling, that command. But the way that we get there is you have to go through those moments of risk. You have to put yourself in a place where you don't know. You have to be in a place where you've got some skills up under you that you can trust and that you can believe in. So you can have some faith in yourself, but you know, I'm going to go into some uncharted territory. And here's what I want to bring to you about flow. And you all know I talk a lot about appreciative inquiry because I so believe it. One of the things that we do in appreciative inquiry, we're talking about, hey, if you're going to be moving into the future, if you're going to be moving into uncertainty, which is a trigger for flow, by the way, uncertainty, novelty, appreciative inquiry says, well, hey, you might as well seek the best of the past that you can bring with you to navigate into that uncertainty. So what's the best of you that you know? What are the strongest skills that you've seen yourself cultivate over time? When have you performed well? When have you been, oh my gosh, had the best day ever at work? When have you just totally knocked the socks off of your spouse? When have you taken the kids for a day out that just is beyond anything that you or they could have imagined? When have you done something, no matter how small the level, you have something from the past that you can bring from the back and help you, give you confidence as you navigate the uncertainty in the future. So, as we're thinking about getting to that moment of mastery, what I want to leave with you today is that you would take those moments where it's hard, where you take those moments where you're scared, where you're in a risky situation, where things don't make sense. They're very complex. You got a lot happening, a lot going on, and you're having to reach for help in ways that you haven't in a long time, or like when something's new, or you're having to ask people to, hey, can you give me a guidepost here or there? Or you're having to consult some books in ways, or consult some information online. Look at me, I'm so old school. Consult some books, go online and find some things so that you can begin to not just navigate the future with more confidence, but that those are the things that help you bang on the door of flow. Those are the things that help you bang on that gateway that says, let me in. I'm ready to transcend and see some things from up here now. So let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments if you are with me, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Flow is not only something that matters for us, but how we get there matters. And I don't want you to toss yourself away from an experience that is going to lead you right to that door of flow, right before everything opens up for you and everything and some of those new capacities open up within you. But if you pull back from the challenge too soon, you can't get there. And if you perpetually pull back too soon, you begin to lose faith in yourself. And if you perpetually pull back before your moment where everything opens up, then you even begin to wonder, gosh, where's the zest in life? Right? So, today's F bomb is flow. Today's F bomb is flow. That effortless effort, that moment of being able to get to a place where things can open up. And some of the pieces that I want you to take from today before I get to your call to action, your assignment for next week, I want to just remind you. Listen, look at risk with a new light. Look at risk. Look, when you start seeing something that's risky, start embracing that opportunity to take a risk. Start embracing that opportunity to get into some complex situations. Do the novel thing, something that's new to you, something that's going to draw you out of yourself, something that's going to have you keep kind of really having to work on that surfboard, on that challenge and skills little seesaw line, right? That's going to have you have to really start to stretch yourself into some new skill set at the same time that allows you to kind of ride that wave into the next challenge. So I'm checking my notes here. Now, here's the other thing that helps us, and this is the piece, and this is a direct line to all of my ADHD brothers and sisters, even the ADHD brothers and sisters that are now kind of modern. You're dealing with some modernity induced ADHD, meaning you got phones on all the time, you got some kind of screen happening everywhere. I'm talking to you. One of the things that triggers a flow state is, and the most important thing, absolute concentration. You are totally present to that one thing that you are working on. And here's the way that you, as Steve Kotler says it, here's the way that you hack it. You find your time where you're most effective, where your brain is most alive and energized. For some people, that's 3:34 in the morning. That is not me. For some people, it is 11 and 12 o'clock at night. Now you're starting to talk my language, right? So wherever your time is, but you want to give yourself 60 to 90 minutes. Kotler's research has found 60 to 90 minutes of uninterrupted, turn the phones off, cut out all of the bells and the whistles and the dings and the reminders and the alarms. Put it all down. And if possible, turn the screens off. Right. Get some paper and a pencil. It activates different parts of the brain and it really locks in your focus when possible. Okay. So being able to be fully and completely focused on one thing. What helps with that? Some of what we talk about here in the studio, passion and purpose. Passion and purpose. Why? Because passion helps us be curious about something, right? When you're passionate about something, you can't get enough of it. You have to see it from this angle, that angle. I want to read the 15th article about it. Or, hey, I'm looking for this kind of car. I have to look at every single version and I want to read all the review, right? Your passion fuels your curiosity. So the piece that I want to leave with you about getting into that state where you feel like you can do anything, give yourself the time to be focused just on that thing, to get into a complete and total, like lined up one-on-one with that area of focus. So as you're thinking about flow between now and next week, here's what I want to leave you with, Wonder People. As you're thinking about flow, I want you to give yourself some time. Find a moment where you have 60 to 90 minutes, a block where you could totally beast out on that thing, where you could just totally go curious. You could totally dive into it. And give yourself that moment where you block out everything else and you keep it going. Now, here's the real challenge for those of you that are down. Make time to do this every single day between now and next Friday. Find it a 60 to 90 minute block where you can spend time. I'm going to call that thing that your passion, your focus with your beloved. Get in love with it. 60 to 90 minutes where you totally focus on that thing. and allow yourself to keep banging on that door. And as it gets challenging and you have to keep bringing yourself back, keep coming back to that area of focus. As you find yourself looking into, this moment of, I don't know if I can keep doing this. This is boring right now. Keep coming back to it. So you're banging on the door saying, Flow, come on now, let me in. We got business. Right? So that's what I have for you today. As you are thinking about your week, as you are thinking about yourself, and as you're thinking about that point of purpose or that object of your desire, let yourself spend some QT. I mean, some real quality time, 60 to 90 minutes once a day, every day, where it's just your focus on that, nothing else, and see what begins to open up for you. Let us know in the comments. Hit me up, and you can follow my TGC Positivity page if you're watching in Facebook, or you can on the YouTube channel, obviously like and subscribe. Again, I'm going to be dropping in some of the videos, my favorite videos on flow from Steve Kotler. So you'll see that. And most importantly, pay attention. When you find yourself in that flow state, when you find yourself where time stands still and it's like effortless effort, make a note. Don't let it just pass you by. Make a note, acknowledge it so that you can begin to see, hey, this is something that's a part of my life. This is a part of my toolkit. This is a part of my experience. It's not beyond you. And it's even beyond that. You can put that thing firmly and squarely in your hand so that it's a part of what you're doing and helping you to experience levels of performance that you hadn't even dreamed of, levels of getting results that you hadn't thought were possible for you. If you're one of these people, and I'm talking to my people, my soul people, if you're one of these folks who's been living life and potential was a bad word, you just never felt like, there's something inside of you. There's something in you that's big, that's bold, that's powerful, but it seems elusive. You can't seem to get your head around it or your hands around it. Listen, get in here, play ball, find something, get in here and keep knocking at the door. I want you to know that potential is there. It's not going anywhere. And sometimes you're going to have to take a lot of whacks. You're going to have to take a lot of bangs on that door for it to open. But when you do, holy cow, look out. Okay, so I will see you next Friday. We're coming in with our fourth F-bomb. So we've had fail. We've had failure as friendly, more specifically, using feedback to help you move forward. We've had today some dips into getting a little bit into this discussion of dipping into the flow pool. How do we get into that elevated state that allows us and makes everything seem possible? Next week, we're talking about freedom. Freedom. And I'll unpack that next week, but I'm telling you, you don't want to miss next week. So get in here. I will see you then. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for popping in, and I will talk with you soon. All right, my wonder people. Dance it out. Dance it out. Bounce, 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 bounce it out. Yes, yes. I will see you next week.